All right, now, everybody. Quiet, listen to me. We're going to start a show. Now, some of you people have been with me before. You know it's going to be a tough grind, but we're going to have a show.
And there is nothing like the Mark Thompson Show holiday audience. Please be seated all. We are excited about a return of Brother John Rothmann at the bottom of this hour. We will unpack for you what's happening with the sensitive geopolitics that Donald Trump and his administration seem to be taking a wrecking ball to. Everything from the fracturing NATO alliance in Europe to a renewed military flex in the Caribbean. It is an extraordinary moment in American political history and military history, and Rothmann will help discuss it here with you. There is also news of other sorts out of the administration that is unrelated to the Venezuela situation, the health care subsidies that are going to expire last of this month. There is a renewed effort to, in essence, reinstitute them because there's no way to save them before they expire. We'll talk a little bit about that. By the way, that effort is being led by GOP legislators, which is extraordinary.
What?
I know, it's extraordinary in itself. So there's that and more. Kim is here, Tony's here, so we will get this thing started. I did want to mention a couple of things before I get right into the heavy stuff. And one of the things I wanted to mention is that YouTube is going to be hosting. YouTube's our home platform. We came from radio. That's why this show, for those of you who are kind of new. By the way, I am all of a sudden, because I came from radio, on YouTube, I have to be aware of what I'm wearing, and this is from the Get Mark merch collection, getmarkmerch.com. I'm wearing, and those who are just listening, sadly, you won't be able to see how wonderful this cardigan is that I'm wearing at getmarkmerch.com. But this is one of the prototype cardigans, so I will show you what is wrong with it, but your cardigan will be better. And what's wrong with it is this logo
It's too low.
is too low.
Yeah.
So you can't even see it in the shot. It should really be where? It should be right about here.
Yeah.
But it's lower. And so I guess I have to, do that. And the other thing, and you really can't see this too well, but it says Mark, and then underneath it, it should say, maybe it says, I don't know what it says, Thompson or the Mark Thompson Show or something, but I really don't know what it says because this is unintelligible. This is just some threading. You know, it's all stitched. It's not like ironed on. It's really a nice cardigan. But because it's a nice cardigan, I wanted to wear it. You know what I mean? I'm not just going to, throw it away. So, and in a way, it's a collector's item. You know, those stamps that the government puts out and, by mistake, some federal building is upside down or, Thomas Jefferson's head is turned to the wrong side or something, and they catch it after a run of 5,000, and then those 5,000 become the most collectible. Similarly, if you get one with the flaw that has the unintelligible lettering and threading under the logo, you have a collector's item that might be worth something someday. And when I say something, I'm really using that term loosely. But anyway, this is the cardigan, and for the holidays, we wear it. Is it even on the website anymore? There's getmarkmerch.com.
No.
Tony's got it.
I was about to say, I'm like, I don't see it on the website.
What?
I'm looking everywhere, man. I've been madly searching.
Courtney,
like,
the cardigan's not on the website anymore? It is? She says it is, Tony.
I see the apron.
Well, the apron is there.
I
Boy,
see
we've got some
pajama
cool
top.
stuff. We've
The
got the
pajama
boxers, pajamas. The tote bags are super cool. There's
Weekend
the
couple.
coaster.
Yeah.
Yoga mat.
Honey, what is the story on the, because it was, I'm wearing it, you can see, I'm wearing the prototype, which has some flaws.
And the
You can
beanie.
just pull the mic right up there. What, you don't need to sit down, but you can sit down if you want. Okay.
Sorry, I'll
I'm not inviting you
make
to.
myself comfortable in here.
Welcome aboard, Courtney.
Thank you.
Hi.
I know. Hi. I can't remember. I might have taken them down because they're difficult to read.
Oh,
And because the stitching is. But I have to look.
Oh,
They
so
are
it's possible Tony is
still-
right in this instance.
They might not
Yeah.
have met Courtney's
Yeah.
exacting standards.
Well,
Yeah.
the one I'm wearing definitely doesn't. It's too low, and
I love Mark's pitch. He's like, buy it because you can't read it. And it's
It's a
completely
collector's
illegible.
It's a
You can't
collector's
tell what
item.
it says.
You know what? You
And
kids don't get it. These are the
eventually,
collector's items.
It'll be a collector's item.
This should be another. Yeah. Okay. Well, we have to refine this. I like the apron, frankly, the kitchen apron for
Yeah,
the
you should
barbecue
wear that
apron.
on the show.
I will wear that. Maybe I'll wear that an hour or two. Yeah.
That's for the cooking segment. Yes.
Yeah. You know what? I will wear that. I'm going to wear the apron an hour two. Tony, make sure I put the apron on for hour two. The Mark
Wow,
Thompson show apron.
I might actually tune in for the show then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. You know
It's
what?
on till 1?
All right.
He's
How
going to whip
dare
up
you?
some of his most famous vegan recipes.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoever is producing this
If
thing
you need help
has no
finding-
idea what they're
All
doing.
right. Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
he'll show us how to brew the perfect cup of Coachella Valley coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It's the only thing he uses the kitchen for.
You know, I am not. I don't know how there's a palace coup going on here, and I don't understand
They
why.
do this to me all the time. I don't know what the hell they do it for.
They do. When the staff, my colleagues, turn on me like this, it's
Yep.
just it's not easy.
Yeah.
Anything else before we?
No,
Okay.
I can put them back up. I can.
Well, I mean, if you can, I don't
Yeah.
want if we can refine them a little bit. I
Okay.
don't know what the situation is, but I do think. Okay.
Yeah,
All
right,
I'll work
well-
on it. I'll work. I'm part of the staff, and I'll work
Yes,
on
exactly.
it. Yeah.
This
This is
So
no
thank you for that.
picnic, no summer
Yeah.
camp.
That's right. Get on it. Yeah. this
Murphy
is not-
says, I don't know if it's still on the site, but the gray waffle weave beanie is literally my favorite hat ever.
Wow,
And I'm a knitter.
Wow, that's from
Yeah.
Murphy Rowan. She knows her
Yeah.
hats.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
Well then,
It's fantastic.
The logo beanie.
yeah.
There it is. It still is on the site.
There you go.
Well, nice
I
job.
gotta get you one of those, Mark.
Yeah.
Or another cardigan that you can't read. Either way, this is for our holidays and for your birthday. Yep.
You don't.
Yeah.
Okay. I need stuff that works. So if you got to get back into the factory, go
Well,
do it. All right. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
That is
Thank you
Courtney,
for the
everybody.
feedback.
Thank you
Courtney.
very much.
Thanks. Bye, Kim.
All right.
Bye, Tony.
She'll be at the next meetup if you want to actually see what she looks like. In any case, I'm wearing the cardigan now, and apparently it's not on the website. But
It's a
Courtney-
one-of-a-kind thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a one of a kind, exactly. So, all right.
Maybe we should auction it off. Let's do that.
Well, it may come to that. Yeah. I was going to mention two things that are, I think, relevant, and you will notice. One is related to our home court, which is YouTube. We're on a live YouTube feed every day, Monday through Friday, from 2 to 4 in the East, from 11 to 1 in the West, in the USA, from the USA to the world. We appreciate everybody who joins us live in the program, but many, in fact, most take in the show on some sort of delay, and we're also as an audio podcast on Spotify, on iHeartRadio, on the Apple podcast platform. Why do I mention all this? Because our home platform of YouTube will be hosting, grabbing from network television, from ABC, the crown jewel of award shows. The Oscars will stream on YouTube in 2029.
What?
Yeah,
So will it
off
still
of
be
ABC.
will it still be on ABC, or will it just be only on YouTube?
No, it will not be on ABC. That's why I said off of ABC.
Okay.
The world's highest profile, most watched award show, which has aired on ABC since 1976, will be moving to a streaming-only platform as part of a deal that also includes red carpet coverage, the Oscar nominations announcement, the Governor's Awards, and more.
What?
I know. This
I know.
is sending shockwaves across the entertainment industry.
What?
I have a theory.
What is your theory on
Ratings
this?
have been declining, and it's mostly second screen view. They want reactions, is what they want. So people will stream it while reacting to it. That's a whole YouTube culture's reaction streaming. So that's what they want. I guarantee.
Sorry, but I couldn't care less if I tried, says P&I Brick.
What?
How dare you, P&A Brick? Well, you are going to have to start trying and start caring. Will
And
the
also-
Oscar look like the FIFA award is another. I'm getting a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Oscar ceremony. Otherwise, I'm going to look into the license of YouTube. They want the interaction. Yeah, everybody seems to be agreeing with Tony.
Second screen. This is what they want.
Yeah.
They want the
Wow.
reactors because that's who they get. Because a lot of reactors already do it, and they can't have the thing on, so it's almost like watch their TV and watch us at the same time. Now they can actually have them both. It's a money play.
So we should do
Money.
a Mark Thompson show Oscar preview
Watch along.
show. Yeah,
And we
we'll
got watch along. We've often talked about doing
That's
a
what
watch
it is.
along on different things. Yeah, might be worth it. Anyway, that's the latest, and that's in 2029. It's a new deal. YouTube is going to broadcast not only the Oscar ceremony itself. By the way, that generated $150 million of revenue for the Academy during the fiscal year that ended on June 30th. Most of that was the TV rights deal from Disney. And then the red carpet show, as I said, and behind the scenes, in-show content, nominations announcement, all that stuff's included in their deal. They're going to, they have the technical awards and the Thalberg luncheon and a bunch of stuff. So anyway, that's something entertainment related, and it's also media related. It's a pretty big story, but it, believe me, it doesn't move the meter in terms of most of the stuff we talk about. But I still nonetheless mention it. And here is this. This very much related to politics and also the world of television. The FCC chairman is saying they never threatened to pull the license over Jimmy Kimmel. Brendan Carr telling senators he never threatened to pull ABC's license over the late night host Jimmy Kimmel's situation, meaning him continuing in that role as a late night host. He called it nothing more than projection and distortion by Democrats. Of course, the Democrats, those evil Democrats. During the hearing, Brian Schatz, who's the Democrat from Hawaii, senator, said that Brendan Carr is trying to claim that he both never tried going after Kimmel, but also has every right to do so, given his comments about Charlie Kirk's assassination. Of course, the Charlie Kirk assassination comments were completely innocuous, completely perverted by the reports. And there's video evidence of Carr from earlier this year warning, quote, there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead if ABC and Disney don't take action against Jimmy Kimmel. I mean, so Brendan Carr is saying this. We know it. He said it on video. Remember that whole interview? And now he's denying it to Senate. I mean, it's crazy. Who are you going to believe? Me or your lying eyes, right?
Yeah.
That's their whole game, man.
It's true if I
Unreal.
say it's true, right? I mean, yeah.
Exactly. Pretty crazy. Anyway, that is that. And then I have one other loose end, not related to the Oscars going to YouTube, not related to ABC and the license pull threat that now they've walked back. This is about friend of the show, Sarah Kendzior, who is our Monday guest. She has a Substack, of course, and she also has a big sale today. There's a $2.99 ebook sale on The Last American Road Trip. It's today and today only. The Last American Road Trip is a wonderful book. It is a story, a real story, a chronicling of Sarah taking her family across the country in different places, making stops, starting in her own Missouri. It's actually a series of road trips, so it's not one road trip, but it's presented as this wonderful journey. And the reason I love this book, and I love all of her books, I'm a super fan of Sarah Kendzior, but the reason I like this Last American Road Trip, and again, you get it today, it's a $2.99 one-day sale at any ebook vendor, okay? I like it because she stops in these places and then gives you sort of the significance of the places, the history of the places, and her writing is wonderful. She relates it to her family. She relates it to civil rights. She relates it to the evolution of the American dream and the American experiment. It's all there in this book that is so wonderfully done. These are pictures from her website, I believe, that Tony has up now, if you're wondering what these are. And so Sarah Kendzior's book, The Last American Road Trip, you will like, you will love. I found parts of it moving, and more than anything, you will learn. With all Sarah Kendzior's writings, you will learn. I mean, there are facts and cornerstone elements that relate to the American experiment that you'll love in Sarah's book. So anyway, it's a one-day sale, $2.99 at any ebook vendor. Check it out. What are you going to do, Tony? Put a link to it under this video, or is it enough just to say it's at any ebook vendor?
No, the link's in the chat.
Oh, great. Awesome.
I've been throwing it in the chat.
All right. Thank you, my friend. So that's that.
Thanks, Tony.
All right. We move on. Thank you all for being here. That's a little bit of the preamble.
Thompson Show.
It is the case that I'll put Venezuela on the back burner a bit until Rothmann shows up, although it's certainly a big, big story. You know, what's interesting, we talk about now the bizarre and completely one-dimensional and utterly senseless and nonsensical and illogical statements around drugs coming into this country that Donald Trump has used to justify any of these ridiculous, horribly misguided, brutal, inhuman policies. When I'm talking about the inhuman policies, I'm talking about the immigration thuggery that's associated with ICE agents, okay? But there's an inhumanity to blowing up boats when you don't even know what the hell's on the boats. And the double tap raid, as it's called, on that one boat where there were 2 survivors that we know of clinging to wreckage. They go back, they blow it up. Then as we revealed, there were 2 other hits on that. So there are 4 hits on that one boat to both destroy the last 2 survivors and the last of the wreckage. So these videos that they show, these snuff films that they release, they've just released another one, but the big release of video that everyone was hoping for and that Donald Trump said he had no problem with was the release of the double tap raid. Well, show us this second video if it was, if you felt there was a threat there, a continuing threat. And of course, now the word is we won't see that video. I mean, I think most of you are aware of that. Most of you didn't anticipate that we'd see it, just as we, I think, know on some level that the Epstein files, which are due to be released, compelled to be released on Friday, will not contain any damning information about Donald Trump. It will be dry cleaned. It will be redacted. So this administration will take care of itself first. And in this case, since this video is so damning, there is no release of this video imminent at all. I think they will not legislatively be compelled to release it, and there will be no really. There are any number of ways they can cloak it. National security, classified, etc. Here is a little bit of the situation with Venezuela as we ramp up, and it includes a little from Pete Hegseth saying, as is consistent with the Department of War policy, we're not going to be releasing this video. Go ahead, Tony, please.
Meanwhile, tensions with Venezuela continue to escalate, with President Trump now saying he is ordering a blockade of sanctioned oil tankers both leaving and entering Venezuela. We're going to break that down in just a second. But first, new video from the Department of Defense. Just this week, the U.S. struck 3 more boats in the Eastern Pacific, killing 8 people. That brings the total number of deaths from these strikes all the way to at least 95 that we know of. But while we've got evidence of this strike, we still have not seen the video of that controversial second boat boat strike in the Caribbean that killed 2 survivors of an initial U.S. bombing back in September. And today, after growing demand, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said this.
In keeping with long-standing Department of War policy, Department of Defense policy, of course, we're not going to release a top secret, full unedited video of that to the general public.
Yeah. So that's, as I say, kind of his disposition toward the whole thing. He has likely enough blood on his hands that will there ever be an administration change, were that ever to happen, and Democrats were getting into power, he might even be exposed to murder charges or certainly charges related to war crimes and / murder. It's very much something spoken of by the international legal community and by the legal community in this country. So that's the situation, though, and it goes on unabated. And there have been 22 strikes on small boats in the Southern Caribbean and the Eastern Pacific, 87 people dead. Pentagon saying the boats and their crews are legitimate targets. This from The Economist, though. I was reading this, and I thought this is something I just would quickly share with you. There's one area of this entire part of the world that is happy to see American military flex, and I'll tell you what it is. You think about it, and it is Puerto Rico. Yeah. Puerto Rico, seized from Spain in the late 1800s, has maintained, of course, a military outpost for the U.S. And they are indeed a commonwealth. They are it is the United States, right? And it was a launch point for operations in Haiti in the 1990s, and the new way in which we're shoehorning ourselves into this part of the world does depend on cooperation from Puerto Rico. And of course, they're cooperating, but more to the point, many of the locals are happy to see an active military base. There are active troops there. There is there are tens of ships offshore, about 15,000 troops. So you begin to see that locals are comfortable with the troops' arrival because it helps the local economy in Puerto Rico. And then beyond that, there are Caribbean leaders, as noted in this Economist article, fed up with the violence that's caused by drug gangs. And they're happy to see an American military presence as well. So, Trinidad and Tobago's prime minister has said, this is a quote, the U.S. military should kill them all violently. So, I think a lot of this is going to depend on the results of all of this. But for now, I thought that was interesting that there is this, there's this sliver of support for what is happening around this Venezuelan flex. And so that's the situation in Puerto Rico. So, yeah, we have Guantanamo, et cetera. And the Cubans are happy with this as well. I was reading that in the same piece. So anyway, we continue. I want to see if I have... let me just quickly show the map, and then I'll get to John Rothmann. I wanted to show you, because this is so much a part of the discourse. And as I say, it's a phony discourse, right? All of a sudden, this concern that Donald Trump has on and around drug interdiction, the concern that Donald Trump has about the flow of fentanyl to this country. All you hear about is, how it's killing so many people. Of course, he makes up the numbers, hundreds of thousands. And I've heard, I heard 200 million at one point. Pam Bondi was talking. These numbers are just completely invented. Not to say that fentanyl isn't a real threat, but it's, he didn't run and win an election on fentanyl interdiction. But more to the point, how much fentanyl comes out of Venezuela? I think I may have asked this the other day. How much fentanyl, this horrible thing, comes out of Venezuela? If you guess none, you're right. No fentanyl comes out. Effectively none. The fentanyl flow to the United States, thank you, Tony, for putting this up. comes out of Asia. It starts in Asia, and it comes to this country. And as I've mentioned before, by now, there are so many middlemen. It is touched by so many people, but generally the flow pattern is Asia to Mexico, and it comes up through the southern border. That's typically the robust route that fentanyl finds itself part of as it makes its way into the U.S. So don't tell me that you're serious about fentanyl and fentanyl interdiction, and so you're going after Venezuela. The drugs that come out of Venezuela, the only drugs that come out of Venezuela, are associated with what? Cocaine. Yeah. Cocaine. Colombia and Venezuela. Now, you can tell me that it's a scourge and it's a problem and it's an issue, but don't tell me that it's about fentanyl. And Tony's got the key route for drug trafficking from Venezuela up there as well. And you can see the flow pattern out of these areas that have become a key part of the military geography that we're going to see over the next couple of weeks. Anyway, I wanted you to see that because I think there's a lot of misinformation about this, and why not at least see the actual flow of drugs from where they originate to where they actually go. Now we'll get into the military a little bit and also the likely evolution of this policy, and we'll do that with John Rothmann. So,
The Mark Thompson Show.
Before I get to Rothmann, smash the like button like a boss. It's a YouTube thing. Appreciate that.
Smash it with your iron rod.
Got to do it with your iron rod, baby. It'll make you feel good. Smash that like button. I'll also tell you that if you don't yet have any Coachella Valley coffee in your hands, be like Uncle Mark. Have yourself a cup of the Holiday Blend. Oh, the Holiday Blend and gift sets are on the website, CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. Go there, pick it up. There's still time. I know you're saying, well, what are you talking about? I mean, Christmas is next week and Hanukkah is already underway. I mean, what can you...
What?
I know. That's why you got to jump on it. They will jump to it, and they will get you your holiday blend or your holiday gift set at CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. But the key thing you want to do is add the discount code for 10% off. Mark T, 10% off everything. Tea, coffee, spices, subscriptions, new products, merch. 10% off anything you order. Put Mark T in at checkout. CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. Rock it out for the holidays. All right.
The Mark Thompson Show.
This guy is a lecturer. He is a writer, historian, and our former colleague from KGO Radio, the brilliant Professor John Rothmann. Hello, sir. John, I wonder if you can help us navigate this Venezuela situation. There is now a blockade underway. In fact, Tony, run a little bit of this setup piece, if you would, please, around the blockade. And then I want to get Brother Rothmann to help us, as I say, navigate exactly what's going on.
He is calling for a total and complete blockade on all sanctioned oil tankers going in and out of Venezuela. The demand comes as the White House continues to ramp up its pressure campaign on Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. And the escalation doesn't stop there. In a social media post, President Trump also says the country will now be designated a foreign terrorist organization. This after the United States military seized a sanctioned 20-year-old oil tanker just last week. Sources tell CBS News the ship was leaving a port in Venezuela. The vessel was sanctioned by the U.S. 3 years ago for its alleged role in an oil smuggling network that helped fund the Iranian military and its proxies in the region. Standing by for us is CBS News senior national security correspondent Charlie Jagged. But first, let's go live right now to the White House and CBS News White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi. Olivia, what does the president say is the reason for this blockade?
Mugo, it's good to be with you. In this sprawling True Social post, the president didn't exactly express why the U.S. was now imposing this so-called oil blockade on these sanctioned ships around the coast of Venezuela. The president, as you read in that True Social post, said Venezuela is completely surrounded by an armada. We know the U.S. has had a significant buildup of military might in the region. He also went on to say that this armada will continue to increase unless Venezuela returns all of the oil, land, and other assets they have previously stole from the United States. He went on to say that he is ordering that blockade of these sanctioned oil tankers. This post was then amplified by the Pentagon, by other members of the White House as well. And it certainly calls into question this entire campaign of what the president and this administration is doing in Venezuela, because previously it has just been consistent strikes on alleged drug boats coming in and out of the country. Now they say they're moving on to oil specifically and blockading that. And yesterday, White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, in an interview to Vanity Fair, said the president is going to keep striking the Maduro regime until Maduro cries uncle. So a lot on the table as to
Okay, so thank you. A lot on the table. There's a lot here, because you see, even in his Truth Social posts, John Rothmann, that Donald Trump almost doesn't really either understand or want to articulate what's really going on with Venezuela. He doesn't really speak to the specifics here. He likes to speak to the military flex, the biggest armada ever, assembled, etc. But I wonder if you can help make some sense of all of this. I can't hear John now.
John, your mic's muted. Probably
You're
unplugging
muted,
it, plug it back
John.
in, because I don't think it's reading your microphone. Sorry.
All right. And in 3, no. So, John, maybe leave and then come back.
Yeah, leave and come back.
You'll leave and come back, if you would, please. While John leaves and comes back, I'll tell you that, Venezuela has a tremendous amount of oil. 850,000 barrels of oil a day is produced in Venezuela. And the entire seizure of the sanctioned oil tanker and other activities in the Caribbean are making fleet operators, scared to move oil in and around Venezuela. Several tankers that have been headed toward Venezuela recently turned around. So there's already a ripple through the international community when it comes to oil trading. But Venezuelan oil gets to the global market on tankers engaged in illicit trade,
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Trump has apparently said that the oil tankers are being blockaded and targeted and seized because the oil from Venezuela is being used to fund the drug trade. But that doesn't necessarily make sense to me, because isn't the drug trade so lucrative that it would pay for itself and then some?
I don't.
If you have to fund a drug trade with oil, then isn't your drug trade a failing enterprise?
Yeah. I mean, the oil tanker seized by the United States, for example, this week, was part of the Venezuelan government effort to support Cuba. This is according to documented reports. People inside the Venezuelan oil industry. It's called Skipper, this tanker that was interdicted, and it's carrying nearly 2 million barrels of heavy crude. But it is not related to drugs and not related to underwriting drug money in any way in support of the drug trade. The drug thing is a complete smokescreen. We called it out as a smokescreen initially. I mean, and I think smokescreen is the right word, because you could view it as a complete distraction from the Epstein files, or you could view it from a lot of perspectives as a distraction when it comes to the economy and any number of things that are dogging this administration. So as the Trump administration falters from a policy standpoint, this ramp up to war or some kind of military confrontation of the sort that we've seen, everything from blowing these boats out of the water. We don't know what's the story is on these boats, and we've talked about this chapter and verse. who's on board these boats? Were there any drugs on board these boats? This seems like a reckless but very high-profile distraction, potentially. So, is Rothmann back?
Yes.
I don't hear him still.
Still can't hear him.
God. Our son has numerous Venezuelan friends in Houston, says Debbie. They are hoping that Trump invades Venezuela as they have a lot of family and friends who are starving. It's called the Maduro diet by some. Yeah, it's funny. I mentioned the Maduro diet yesterday. Remember, I mentioned it to David K. Johnston because that is a fact. It is a brutal regime, Maduro, and people are starving. And at his rallies, you find people there who, they're skinny. I mean, unhealthily skinny. And Maduro literally calls them and goes, I can see there are a few on the Maduro diet. He kind of jokes about it. So I'm sure they're aching for regime change on some level. Let's try Rothmann again. I don't know what's happening. John? I don't know why we can't hear him. What's going on, Tony? I'm ready to have you. I may bring Tony in. I'm going to play the Tony card.
Thanks, Tony.
Yeah.
Okay, John, you're muted.
John,
so
you're muted, dude. You're
there
muted.
You go. No, he's not.
Okay, now he's not muted, but he's still
let's
not
try this.
heard. Yeah.
Are you using an external microphone or just the webcam? Webcam. Okay.
Webcam.
Yeah.
Tony is doing his technological
okay, let's see.
Right now.
I'm going to try this real fast.
Turn it off and turn it back on, right?
Yeah.
Can you turn the house where you are off completely, everything on, and turn everything back on, John? Would that be
what?
Let's try
no.
This. How about now?
Yeah.
Nothing. No. All right.
No. This is very disturbing, Tony, because we were talking to him before before the show.
It was working fine.
It was. I don't know what the issue is.
You said it had an issue, and then he came in with us, and it was fine. So now it's not. Technology, isn't it great?
It's very troubling, Tony, and I'm
sorry, everyone.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say.
How does the internet work?
I don't
Not
know.
well. That's the truth.
It really is.
I blame you.
Okay, maybe somehow it's my fault. Let's try Rothmann again. Add him again. Let's see what happens.
Nothing. I can see him talking. Nothing.
Oh my God, this is crazy. Dude.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is a dream come true for me though, because Rothmann can't be heard, and I'm. This is brutal. I'm not gonna cry. I am. I'm on the verge, buddy. What should he do, Tony? Should he reboot his whole system, computer?
Yeah, I would say no, just don't leave, but turn off and turn on your computer. Do the whole restart your computer. Let's see if that works.
Restart it. We're going to bump all guests for the rest of the week till we get this right. Nobody else is going to be on the show till we get
That's
you
Christmas.
Yeah, I got to...
Listen to me. I don't want to hear you.
Yeah. Can you have him call in somehow, says Saul the Shoemaker, on speakerphone? Yeah, well, I mean, I'd love to...
That's actually more hard to do.
Yeah. It's easier to get a hold of Joe Box than it is...
Joe Fish, Sal the Shoemaker, Joe Box, and Little Anthony.
Yeah, I'd rather get that group together.
We used to have Katz calling on the phone through me, remember?
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
We'd have to get David Katz who would call Tony. Anyway, this is... it's all fun. Thank you, everyone.
Nope.
Still nothing.
Still nothing, John.
I don't know what's going on. If John, are you on an Apple? Nod, yes or no? Apple computer? Yes. So if you go up to...
no, you're on a PC?
He's on a PC?
On a PC?
Why did he nod?
Yeah.
Are you on a PC, sir? Nod, yes or no? No, he's on an Apple computer. Don't you know, Tony, you don't know how to read nods?
Apple.
The up and down is yes, and this is no, and back and forth, okay? So
this whole time.
Charades with John Rothmann.
So, John, if you go to the upper left-hand part of your computer, there's a little apple there. If you drop down, there is, I believe...
He's got his magnifying glass out.
A menu that says System Settings. And if you go under System Settings, there is audio choices. I believe it says sound, and you may want to check those.
Oh, there's a big eye. There it is.
Yeah. Anyway, this is fun. I'll give it another 45 seconds or so, and then I'll just, while he's doing this, relate a couple of things that I think are true. Hilo Karen is saying U.S. embargoes are partially responsible for how Cuba and Venezuela have suffered. That is absolutely true. There is no question. But there is also a route for Venezuela to trade oil, embargoed oil on the world market. That's kind of what is being referred to at this point. It's suggested that this tanker, the tanker in question, is dealing with oil that has been allocated for Cuba. And honestly, because of the embargo on Cuba, they really don't get a lot of oil to Cuba. A lot of it instead has been resold to China, and it is a. Rothman's going to try one more time. This is only a little bit distracting. No, I don't see him. This is fun though, isn't it, everybody? We really.
I don't think. Try talking. Yeah, I don't see any levels. Yeah. Sorry, John.
I don't know, John. John, we've tried this. I don't know what to say. Maybe you could just nod, or one way or the other, and I will just make a series of statements.
If you want to go crazy, you have a cell phone. Can you click on the link through your cell phone, and that might work?
Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah, click on the link through the cell phone. That's Once again, Tony.
Thanks, Tony.
Yeah, very, very. This is where we really separate the audience that's dedicated to this show from people who are just passing through.
This is so interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. If you
look, tech problems.
Yeah, if you are just passing through. President Trump is saying blockade of all sanctioned oil tankers into Venezuela. And maybe it really is, as was revealed in the interviews with Susie Wild. We can talk about those. There were 11 different interviews with Susie Wild. She was really speaking the truth.
They're scrambling now.
And she was saying, hey, it's simple. Trump has spoken repeatedly about how he wants Maduro to cry uncle, is what she said. And that's regime change, right? Yeah. So all of you MAGA people that kind of were telling me about how he's going to end the war in Ukraine, end the conflict in Gaza. He's a, he's a peacenik. And Donald Trump is an anti-war president. He is, I never believed that. Never. I mean, he is full of ego and bluster, and he views the American military as a political prop. That's why in the first Trump administration, he sent the American military to the southern border to protect Americans from a bunch of T-shirt clad people who were fleeing all kinds of oppression in Latin America. And they came here seeking refuge from persecution in any number of countries through mostly Central America. He sent the U.S. military to greet them as though they were some sort of armed force. It was Christmas time, and he sent all of those military people down there. That should have told you that he views the military as a prop, part of the theater of being president. And I think Hegseth falls into that same category in a different way. Hegseth, I think, enjoys the theater, the bluster, the flex, the toxic masculinity associated with moving the chess pieces that are military related all around the globe. He loves the announcement. That's why he has ramped up this whole video arm of the Pentagon. That's why he has a makeup room in the Pentagon. There was no makeup room at the Pentagon before. But Hegseth, who is a glorified weekend Fox News Channel host, views the military and his participation in the military performatively. That doesn't mean there are not real-world consequences and real-world actions being taken, but it does mean that underpinning all of this are people who just don't know what the hell they're doing. They just don't know what the hell they're doing. And now I would get to Rob Reiner. How do I get to Rob Reiner? Because you had one of the great quotes about Donald Trump, and it applies to Pete Hegseth. And in the shadow of the profoundly sad loss of Rob Reiner, I will read you the Rob Reiner quote about Donald Trump, and I'll put it on screen right now. Donald Trump, Rob Reiner said, is the single most unqualified human being to ever assume the presidency of the United States. He is mentally unfit. Not only does he not understand how government works, he has no interest in trying to find out how it works. And Rob Reiner was and is right. That's what's happening at the top. And Pete Hegseth falls right into the same category. With a rough understanding of how stuff works, but with ultimately no competence when it comes to the military and keeping Americans safe and keeping the world safe. I mean, there's a responsibility you have when you're controlling the most powerful military on earth. And I'd suggested that they've abrogated that responsibility. They've just given it up. And so now we're in the global games that now involve Latin America and Venezuela. John Rothmann is attempting now the
final dismount.
I see levels.
Yeah.
If you want me to put them on,
we'll see if we can stick the landing. John, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Wow, it's unbelievable.
Now let me give credit. Let me give credit to my wife who figured this out. Although I don't know why I can't get you on my computer.
No, somebody said go do.
I don't know why, and I'm
all right. But here I am on the phone.
I'm delighted that you're here, and now we have. Frankly, we've run out of time. So I'm.
Well, it's a pleasure being with you.
John, let's get right into it. Help me sort out this Venezuelan flex, please, on the part of the Trump administration.
There is no logic to what is happening with Venezuela. Everybody here should know that the president has a personal grudge against Maduro. That's what he's pursuing. The fact that Pete Hegseth has refused to release this video is absolutely abhorrent to me. He ought to be removed immediately as the Secretary of Defense. And all I can tell you is it is so shocking, so outrageous, so egregious that Congress should move immediately to correct this. That is my view, simply stated.
The Pete Hegseth remarks saying it's completely consistent with the Department of Defense history that this video wouldn't be released. You don't buy into it. I will just say as an aside, I mean, they're releasing videos of these boats being blown away. They release them like video game clips, a couple every day.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. There is no excuse. And what is happening now, here's what bothers me, Mark. The whole Senate and House establishment, Democrats and Republicans, ought to say, no, you can't do this. This is unconscionable. And they're not. But it'll be interesting tonight when the president speaks to the nation at 6 o'clock West Coast time, 9 o'clock East Coast time, whether he addresses the situation. Remember, it is the president himself who said he had no problem with releasing it, but it was up to Hegseth. This is absolutely unprecedented and a disaster and needs to be addressed completely by Congress. Now, not tomorrow, not the next day, but now. And that means the Republican leadership has to speak out because this is really an attack on the whole democratic process.
There's a statement that Trump has made on his Truth Social, and maybe you can help sort this one out. He does his, again, I call it a flex because it just feels like that's exactly what it is. Venezuela is completely surrounded by the largest armada ever assembled in the history of South America. It will only get bigger, and the shock to them will be like nothing they have ever seen before. Until such time as they return to the United States of America all of the oil, land, and other assets that they previously stole from us. Helping with that last part, until such time as they return to the United States of America all of the oil, land, and other assets they previously stole from us.
It's completely irrational. There is no logic to it. Listen, I've been involved in foreign policy for decades. Never have I seen such an abuse of power. And as you've pointed out, outrageous, egregious statements. But look what he said about Reiner's death. Look at the muted response by Republicans who should be outraged. In a normal time, this president would be impeached by the House and convicted by the Senate in no time. And what is happening now really stretches everything I believe in American democracy. He's getting away with literally murder, particularly if you consider the fact that those who were on that boat, who I want to know who gave the order to fire, and it wasn't the admiral. This was murder, plain and simple, without any hesitation or doubt on my part. Do you understand, Mark? And I want our listeners to understand. I can complain, you can complain, but we have an FCC commissioner who makes a statement and then denies that he ever made the statement. And you have it on tape. I mean, this administration is out of control.
Yeah, the statement to which John's referring is the statement that the FCC commissioner is making, saying, I never said that we were going to pull the license of ABC around the Jimmy Kimmel situation after the Charlie Kirk assassination. I never said that there was a, and as John has said, what are you talking about? You said it on camera. You said it on, there's literally video of you saying just that. But he denied it in testimony to senators. The Republican senators, John, because you do mention the senators, I just want to follow up. They are, a series of Republican senators are openly questioning Pete Hegseth's decision not to release that full video of the follow-up strike on the two survivors from the initial military strike against the Venezuelan boat. So this does, on some level, I mean, it's John Cornyn from Texas, again,
Have you
a
heard
Republican.
John Thune? Have you heard the head of the Republican Party in the Senate make this statement? Because until the majority leader signs on, nothing happens.
So you think on some level it's just a performative? Lindsey Graham's the other one, by the way.
They don't count.
Yeah.
It's only the majority leader who counts. And John Thune is being absolutely absent on all of this. They're afraid of Donald Trump. But do you look, Mark, I don't know how to put this in a civilized fashion. Mark Thompson's show is a place where we can speak out. But public radio, the idea that there is real debate on this, I posted on my Facebook page the story about what's happening at KCBS and the departure of some key people.
KCBS is a radio station in San Francisco.
If you go to my Facebook page, you can see it. But basically, they were thrown out. And Doug Sovereign is the man I'm talking about.
They're an all-news radio station in San Francisco. Yeah, go ahead.
And what has happened is the key people who have been outspoken covering these big stories have all been removed or forced out.
Are you saying that?
Yeah,
the reason is, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
It's because of Donald Trump and his administration and pressure about licensing. Exactly that point.
Who owns KCBS Radio?
Now?
Yeah, is it Odyssey or something?
Yes, Odyssey.
Yeah.
But
so they're not part of the Paramount deal, for example. They're not part of some. Okay.
But if we were on KGO, and this was the point that I tried to make in the post that I did on Facebook, if we were still on KGO and you and I and Gene Burns and Ray Taliaferro and Ron Owens were critical of the Trump administration, you can bet the full weight would have come down on us. And my point this morning was nothing should silence us. Every American, Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, ought to be speaking out, because what is happening now is an attack on us. And you ask about Venezuela, it relates directly. When you have someone in the White House who is completely irresponsible, and I mean irresponsible, just look at his comments about the death of Reiner. If you have a president like that, and there are no restraints on a president, no wonder Donald Trump feels he can get away with it. You heard his statement this morning following the Supreme Court, rather the statement that was made by a court judge, not Supreme Court, but a Superior Court judge. And he says, I'm fully vindicated. And you think about this and you understand we have, may I be blunt with you? I always am. We have a man in the White House who is completely out of control. And the Susie Biles interview, which appeared in Vanity Fair, intrigued me because she referred to him as an alcoholic. He's a dry drunk, but what he's drunk on is not liquor, but power. And there needs to be a responsible voice in the Republican Party of power who will rein him in. To tell you that I'm going to be listening tonight And I wish I were on with you tomorrow because I want to know what Donald Trump is going to say and how he will answer this, if he even bothers. So this is
well,
something
he'll speak in crafted remarks drafted by someone else, and I don't even know that it reflects any kind of real policy on his part. I mean, he's oftentimes saying one thing in these curated remarks and then doing something else. There was another.
Well, that's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah, there was another near miss in this in the skies near Venezuela. You'll note that there was that JetBlue flight that narrowly missed a military aircraft.
Yes.
That's a commercial flight. People have purchased tickets. They're coming from various vacation destinations, and the military aircraft didn't have its transponder on. And for that reason, there was almost a collision. And now there's been a second incident with the pilots of a private jet narrowly avoiding a collision with a U.S. Air Force refueling tanker near Venezuela. Again, this happened a day after a similar incident. So you're beginning to see, if you will, almost the friendly fire problem beginning to spin up in a way that reflects, honestly, a lapse in competence when it comes to even basic military operations around this Venezuela situation.
I agree with you completely. But, Mark, we can ruminate about this. We can talk about it. But the question is, will there be action? Because, frankly, each week I come on with you and we have these discussions and we're clear. But there needs to be an authority figure. And that's why I say if we were on KGO, we would have a collective voice. But what has happened because of the FCC and its policies, because, frankly, of Cumulus Media and its irresponsible control of so many radio stations, we are left almost muted. Well, I'm not going to be muted, and you're not going to be muted. People need to support the Mark Thompson program. You need to spread the word about the Mark Thompson program. You need to subscribe to the Mark Thompson program, because there are few vehicles that we have that can really express this. Look,
I want to ask you a question about
Sure.
the designation of a cartel, as has happened with this administration. This Colombian cartel was designated a terrorist group. Okay, the Clan de Golfo, it's based in Colombia, listed both as a foreign and a global terrorist group. The U.S. State Department calling them a violent and powerful criminal organization in Colombia. Okay. I wonder if you can speak to how that designation changes things and allows for more military power to be brought to bear on Colombia, Venezuela, etc., once that designation is imposed.
I will answer you directly. It opens up the ability for Donald Trump, the President of the United States, to take unilateral actions which he should not be able to take. Do you understand this has nothing to do with drugs? When you put up that map, you showed fentanyl isn't coming from this area. It's coming from Mexico, frankly.
It comes from
primarily.
Asia through Mexico to the U.S. That's exactly right.
And so
no fentanyl comes from Venezuela, none.
So when you know that and you consider this, you wonder, the members of Congress know this, Republicans know it, Democrats know it, people in the administration know it, and yet there is a deafening silence. I think it's fear. Trump, when he talked about Reiner's death, talked about Trump derangement syndrome. I'm not a person with Trump derangement syndrome. Many of you who've listened to me, and I want to make this very personal over the years, know I was critical of Richard Nixon, even though I worked for him. I was critical of Bill Clinton, who I voted for, not once, but twice. When I oppose a president, it has nothing to do necessarily with whether they're a Democrat or a Republican. It has to do with whether what they're doing is responsible. The history of the Trump administration, particularly the second round, shows the complete irresponsibility of the Trump administration. And the accountability comes from two places. The Supreme Court, if they will have the courage to stand up and just say no, and we've talked about this before, but there are two justices to watch. One is the Chief Justice, John Roberts, and the other is Amy Coney Barrett. If they vote with the liberals, you will have a 4-5 defeat for the Trump administration. But I'm afraid that when the issue of tariffs, when the issue of presidential power comes up, that Trump will prevail. And something else, I want to make this absolutely clear. I'd say perfectly clear, but it would invoke my old boss. But I want to make sure everybody understands this. Had there been a split decision on the United States versus Richard Nixon, it was an 8-0-1 recusal vote. Nixon was prepared to defy the Supreme Court. If it had been a split decision, Nixon would have then had the ability to say, well, they're split, and I don't give a damn what they say. What I'm worried about is a split decision on presidential power, from tariffs to these kinds of issues that we're talking about, and Donald Trump simply saying to the Supreme Court, up yours, and then there being no recourse. And I want people to understand this balance of power between the executive, the legislative, and the judicial is so critical to the balance of our democracy. And what we're seeing now is an abuse of power. Let me remind you that whenever a president of the United States faces impeachment, it is because of abuse of power. And Donald Trump is rightfully afraid that if the Democrats take control of the House, that there will then be committee hearings after the next election, and that these kinds of questions will come up. It doesn't mean he'll be removed from office. You all understand that very clearly. But what it means is that there will be some formal accountability. But I'm only telling you my deep concern. I was asked this morning on another program what I thought of it would bring down Donald Trump. It's his own hubris, his own defiance. And I believe that the comments he made following the tragic death of the Reiners is an indication of a man out of control. And when you have a president of the United States who is out of control, who is dealing with foreign policy, domestic policy, we haven't talked about Ukraine, we haven't talked about the Middle East, we haven't even talked about what happened in Australia. And I don't blame Trump for it, but you can see in the responses of the Trump administration what lays the foundation for hatred. And I'm telling you, this is a very, very important moment in our history. And the question of whether we rise or not, by the way, one other quick point. Tonight, there will be a presidential address, which all of us will be listening to. Do you remember in the old days, Mark, when a president spoke, there was a Democratic response? Do you remember that? There was a response by the opposition. I'm waiting to see, when the president speaks tonight, what kind of coverage will be given to the opposition, because this is a partisan political speech so labeled by the White House as a Donald Trump touting his accomplishments as president of the United States. That makes it a partisan.
Yeah, it's of course it's partisan. It's a partisan. It's a more, I'd say, it's a hyper partisan world now, particularly given the fact that Trump and the MAGA nation has created an us versus them situation on a level that we've really just never seen before. There's no kind of a reaching across the aisle or kind of bipartisan effort, et cetera. This is a real us versus them. But I thought Tony had a good point up here, and it kind of I think dovetails what you're talking about. Can you put it back up there? There it is. Tony Ladauti says, John, doesn't Putin's phone call to Maduro complicate things for Trump and maybe improve things for Ukraine? This is something I really want to get into with you, and I want to do it just quickly. And that's associated with, these moves don't occur in a vacuum. The Russia-China growing alliances and the connective tissue between some of these traditional foes of the U.S. and traditional allies of the U.S., that whole thing is changing and evolving, and it's being, frankly, accelerated by this administration. Can you speak to the Putin call and just the way in which Russia begins to maximize its relationship with some of these traditional foes of the U.S.?
If Donald Trump listens, it might make a difference. But you're talking about the arrogance of power. You're talking about a president of the United States who doesn't have the ability to concede that he might have made a mistake or that he's wrong. And so my answer to your question is, in a logical world, Mark, that would make all the difference in the world. But we are not dealing with logic when one deals with Donald Trump. I personally consider Donald Trump to be an existential threat to this country, to our democracy, and indeed to the peace of the world.
But just to Tony's point, sure. I mean, Putin has said in that call to Maduro, hey, I'm here for you guys. We'll help you in any kind of emerging military situation with the U.S. I mean, that does complicate things, doesn't it, John?
Only if Putin really does it. You understand?
You think that's performative as well? You think he's just posturing?
I do.
Oh, you don't think that he'd actually get into any sort of support relationship with Venezuela if
I don't believe
the American military goes forward?
He is more interested in Ukraine and building a Russian empire than he is in Venezuela.
So let me then turn to Canada. This is a different situation, but it is an interesting one, and this is what I was talking about. With Canada, you have a reliable partner to the U.S. from a trade standpoint, from a basic alliance standpoint.
Oh, you mean the 51st state? Are you talking about the 51st state? Is that what you're talking about?
And so Canada now, because of the withering tariff situation, relationship with Washington being strained by Trump, Canada is looking to China now in ways in which it never had before. China has warming relations with Canada, and it's all because of the series of things set in motion by Trump policy.
No, it's all because of Donald Trump. I want you to be clear. This isn't a matter of policy. This is a matter of Donald Trump and reaction to Donald Trump and the fear that people have of his irrationality. You are absolutely right. Can you imagine a person being president of the United States who drives Canada into the arms of Russia? Do you understand? I mean, I'm so disturbed by what is happening and the need to speak out. And we talked about the FCC earlier. If what we're going to rely on, Mark, is what you and I are doing now on YouTube, I don't think we have a chance. By the way, I have to.
Well, I mean, first of all, I would say that just on that. This show's on YouTube, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and also on the Apple Podcast. But let's leave this show. This is a little show. There are big shows. There are very, very big shows that are on YouTube and all those other platforms I just mentioned. And I do think that these conversations that we're having on this show, they're specific to this show, but they're also versions of these conversations being held across some of these other platforms on other shows. I do think that gets out into the zeitgeist, John. So I mean,
hope you're right.
I get it. KGO is gone. Got it. I mean, I can only sit and cry over that grave so much.
Can't.
Okay,
we have to move forward.
Exactly.
ABC, by the way, is going to cover the Academy Awards. They made clear this morning that ABC is going to broadcast it, even though it will be on YouTube. But I just have to be. I'm not mourning anything. I'm looking for a vehicle for
That's just a changing media landscape. I don't know what you threw the Oscars in there. I don't know what that has to do with it.
Oh, that's because
I think you're relating to the changing media landscape.
No, you began earlier by saying ABC was not going to host.
Yeah, they're not beginning in 29.
No, they put out a correction saying they were going to continue to do it, but I don't know whether that's fact or fiction.
Wait a minute.
What? I do know.
Kim,
go
can
ahead
you check
and take
that,
a look.
please? This is outrageous to have a guest correct
ABC
something
put
like
out
this.
A statement.
ABC
put out
this
a
would be a
statement, not
correction
John
and
Rothmann.
apology situation.
Correction and apology.
Is this a correction, Kim? Please, could you check? Kim is our correction. I don't believe Rothmann. He can't just come on.
I don't blame you for not believing me.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say to
out
you
of
is,
nowhere, he reaches. Stop for a second. You correct me, and then you say what I'm trying to say. No. We're going to stay with this, and you're going to apologize to me if you're wrong. So hang on a second. Kim is checking. What is the story, Kim? Oh my God! Give me a.
Hold on, here I am. Okay, so I just found a story from PBS. Do we trust PBS? They say the Oscars will move to YouTube in 2029, leaving longtime broadcasting home ABC.
Well, that's what I said.
Okay.
I had that story at the beginning of the show.
I was told this morning by someone who works for ABC.
Oh my
ABC
God! I was told by someone.
Would you like to apologize for what you've done?
I'll take my apology right now on the air. How would you want to go? I stand corrected. You want to go? I misspoke.
I stand corrected.
You want to go? I misspoke.
I'm telling you, the
misspoke.
information.
Yeah.
The information I received is that ABC is going to continue to cover the Oscars. They're going to broadcast it live. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. but
They're
that's not
going
what I
to
heard this
continue
morning.
to broadcast it live until 2029,
Yeah.
Right.
when the
It's an
Oscars are
exclusive
headed to
deal
YouTube.
with Google. It says
Yeah.
they did an exclusive.
deal. Yeah.
Yep.
How
But we'll get
dare
to
you?
see it this year and next and the year after.
Do you want to go with a my bad, I'm sorry, or do you want to go? How about a my bad, I'm sorry?
My
let me
bad.
assure
I'm
you,
sorry.
I'm so sorry. I apologize if I got it wrong. But
That-
I'm glad Kim
Oh,
added,
wait! Stop with that
added-
applause. What do you mean? If I got it wrong? No. You
No, they are
apologize
continuing-
is I apologize. I was mistaken. That is the apology. Okay. I don't want
No,
to. If I got it wrong.
No, let me just say, are they going to continue to broadcast?
No,
The
they're
answer is
not.
Yes.
They're not. After 2029,
Tim
they're
just
not
said-
going to.
Okay,
Why
but
are you
this
yelling?
This is
I-
2026. I don't want to
Exactly.
argue with you
Why are you
about it. I
yelling?
just
It's
heard
the
a story and
story.
I'm giving it to
All
you.
right. I don't get it.
You just don't get it, do you?
You don't get it. You don't, John. You don't. All right.
All right.
I'm gonna accept my apology and.
Y'all can all go to hell, and I'm going back to Texas.
All right.
Damn right.
All
Who's
right.
going to Texas?
All right,
You're
John.
in Southern California.
I will. How dare you? First of all, distract us like this. But now that we
apologize.
are distracted,
All right, let's get back on track.
I just want to make it clear. Tonight, Donald Trump will address the nation. What I'm talking about is as America makes moves, economically initially, it was with tariffs. He came in and heavy-handedly created a system of patronage, essentially. All of these different nations would be tariffed at one time, and they all had to make individual deals. They came to the Mad King with different offers, many of them moneyed. A Trump administration filled with Trump Inc. right behind, meaning they greenlit resorts in the Middle East, they greenlit resorts in Vietnam. There were all kinds of exchanges. That's the economic side of things. And that continues. The military side of it is what we're seeing now, and I think he'll speak to it tonight. This Venezuelan military flex, which is designed, it would seem, to replace the Maduro regime in Venezuela. What I'm speaking of is the movement of the movement of those pieces has other interlocking pieces, and that's really what I am most intrigued to get your sense of.
It's
that
not
the
a
world and world alliances are changing. And the last thing, and then I will be quiet, is the NATO alliance, which has been such a critical part of an umbrella security that has really offered a kind of security to Europe post-World War II that was designed to be in place. In other words, it's worked as designed. That is gone. And so all of these different things are happening at one time as a result of American moves, both diplomatically and militarily.
Yeah, it was not a Venezuelan military flex. It was an American military flex. And that is what I object to so profoundly. This president is out of control. This has nothing to do with drugs. I don't even think it has to do with oil, because if you listen to the president, we are producing more oil than any other country in the world. We are the champion on that. This has to do with a president who has a personal grudge and who is using the presidency for those purposes. And let me tell you, I worked for a president who did that, Richard Nixon, and he deservedly was removed from office because of his actions. He would have been removed by Congress if he'd allowed the process to go forward. So all I can tell you, and I apologize for my diverting you on the Academy Awards, but I want people to understand this information is so critical, and what Donald Trump is doing is just plain wrong.
I love our time together. You never need to apologize, except when you're wrong, which does happen from time to time. I mean, I'm not.
What? Really?
I know. Even the sage.
I want to make
even
sure
the
my wife
sage.
is not listening. I just want to make sure my
Around the
wife is
Political World with John Rothman is where you can hear the musings of John Rothman on a daily basis. What did you discuss this morning, John Rothman, on the Around the World Political World with John Rothman podcast? Did you do one today?
Yes, I do one every day. On Around the Political World, we talked about the speech tonight by Donald Trump. We talked about the fact that Hegseth has refused to release the tapes. So it was consistent with some of the discussion I'm having with you. I just want to be clear about this, that we also talked about the Susie Weiler interview,
Susie
which
Wiles,
appeared
yeah.
which appeared in Vanity Fair, and
Right.
I can only tell you, to me, it was shocking. Now, Trump is not going to diss her because she has been a very effective chief of staff, and he needs her. But I have to tell you, if you really read what she said, you know what she's setting up? She's setting up the dissing of the vice president of the United States. She
J.D.
essentially is
Vance, yeah.
saying Marco Rubio would be a better candidate than J.D. Vance. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many ins and outs of that. That's what I really thought, and I can't let us go without commenting on Senator Kelly. The White House and the Defense Department are pursuing an effort to recall him to military service on the grounds of his command investigation, because what did he do? He had the audacity to make a videotape telling the truth. And let me tell you something.
I mean, basically, just outlining the legal
policies.
parameters of
Right. And
for
Mark Kelly,
for officers in the military to not follow any illegal order. It would seem to me like this is a fool's errand trying to bring him in, but I guess they're just trying to mess with him, to screw with him.
And this morning, they said they are going to proceed. The Defense Department said they were going to proceed on the matter of Mark Kelly. This is something that, again, is intolerable. So on all of these issues, Mark, thank God we agree. And let's keep talking about it, and let's keep pushing it, because I think it's dangerous. And what are you doing tonight at 6 o'clock?
It's the Trump speech tonight.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I wanted to plug that because I have had people email me and say they are not going to, in any way, shape, or form, they are not going to listen because they can't stand Trump. And my answer is, what a mistake. You've got to listen. We all have to listen. And then we have to respond as vigorously as we can. And tomorrow morning, I will be listening, I hope, to the Mark Thompson program. Because I want to hear your response. And may I say, I apologize for the technical glitch. And I again want to acknowledge my wife, who put me on a phone instead. But, I can see I'm back on your site. And let me just tell you, because I want your staff to know this, what I get is an echo.
Yeah, that's because you're okay. Now you're just because you're on two devices, and so one is turned up and it's hearing
I'm
the
off
other
that
device.
But I'm very sorry, and I apologize.
Well, I love the apology. That's very, 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 very
on bended knee.
Yeah, I'm impressed.
My words upset so many people.
It wasn't so much the words, but
it was wrong. It was stupid, and I'm trying to be a better person.
That's exactly what I heard. The great John Rothmann, everybody. Thank you, John Rothmann. Thank you, John Rothmann.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Who's Mark Thompson?
This is a word from the Lord, and he's not happy.
Can you let him finish, sir?
Thank you for being here, everybody. Smash that like button like a
with
boss.
Your iron rod.
It will bring happiness to you and your family. If you subscribe to this show and you hit the notification bell, you'll know whenever we drop a new video. But more than anything, I'm just concerned with you. Don't do it for us. Do it for yourself, and do it for your family. The very funny comment from Luis is something I will share to you. He's one of the funniest people. Where is Luis's comment? IPA Pete changed his mind on releasing the video when he realized double tap did not involve a keg. I don't know. I thought that was funny. Hashtag drunk with power. Yeah, exactly. Also, I want a quick shout out to Romania Animal Rescue. I think this show is being kept on the air by Romania Animal Rescue. Big shout out.
Big shout out.
Because Romania Animal Rescue so regularly supportive with a super sticker for $20. Thank you so much. Need the support. Love the support. Grateful for the support. Could we have a holiday rod of equity and mercy today? Oh, that's interesting. That's from Richard Delamater. A holiday rod of equity and mercy. I'll tell you what I will do. I will give you a holiday rod of equity and mercy tomorrow. And the reason I'm waiting until tomorrow, for those who don't know, the rod of equity and mercy is something that's, we don't do it frequently on this show, but it's very powerful and it's very positive. And that power and positivity I'm going to bring tomorrow so that you can collect all who need that positivity and power. Collect them tomorrow to the show. And if they're logged on, and if they are either listening in delay, watching in delay, or watching live, they will be the beneficiaries of this powerful, positive thing, the rod of equity and mercy. And I want to thank Richard Delamater for even suggesting it. I think it is very holiday, and I like that. Former special counsel Jack Smith telling a congressional committee that his team found, quote, proof beyond a reasonable doubt that Donald Trump engaged in, quote, a criminal scheme to overturn the 2020 election. Our correspondent, Kim McAllister, has been watching that story as well.
Wait, what?
And he has testified, this is in a closed-door meeting, closed-door hearing, that it was his decision to charge Trump. And here's the quote: "The decision to bring charges against President Trump was mine, but the basis for those charges rests entirely with President Trump and his actions. These actions, as alleged in the indictment, returned by grand juries in 2 different districts." Jack Smith was called to testify about Trump's alleged mishandling and retention of classified documents and his role in attempting to overturn the 2020 election.
So these Republicans that are calling him, the subpoenaing Jack Smith, they're doing so as part of, it appears to me, as part of what we call the Trump retribution tour, where he then is trying to rewrite history and prove that, you know, his big lie is true and that he didn't have any part in trying to overturn the election or any type of a coup. And so they're trotting out these people to say, look, and see, you prosecuted, you went after the president in a political fashion, you had no proof. And Jack Smith walks in and says, you know what? I have a lot of evidence this guy committed every crime under the sun.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I have evidence that was brought before grand juries. And indeed, you know, Jim Jordan, who's just a fire-breathing dragon of extreme right-wing Trump-defending BS, called Smith, you know, partisan. He said Smith is someone who ran a partisan and politically motivated probe of Trump, conducting abusive surveillance of lawmakers. And the response from Smith, as you've said, is completely credible. Also, I'll just mention, you know, Smith went after a lot of public corruption in his past. So if you look at his track record, it's pretty much spotless when it comes to seeking this stuff out. And Merrick Garland appointed him. And again, I think he slow-walked, Merrick Garland did, the appointment of Jack Smith. And that's why we're kind of in the situation that we are. Merrick Garland with a completely tepid, unacceptable, shameful response to an administration and a president who tried to undermine the election in 2020. I mean, it's absolutely insane that so little was done. So it took, again, some time for Smith to put this all together. And by the time the court cases were underway and appeals were indulged, et cetera, it was too late. But this is an effort that is also associated with not only that accusation and those charges, but also with lawmakers who are angry that their phone records were part of the investigative process around, again, the January 6th riot and the ramp up to it at the Capitol. So that's part of it too, you know. And as I've mentioned to you, by the way, and that seems perfectly defensible. There's a riot going on. They seem to have access to certain areas, and there was significant question as to what lawmakers might be in collusion with critical members of that crowd that was invading the Capitol on January 6th. I mean, you had the Proud Boys, you had the 3%ers, you had these, you know, white nationalist groups that were part of all of this. And it was a critical part of the investigation to figure out whether there were members of the legislature on the House side or the Senate side that were in some way in collusion with these riotous mobs. So all of those people who had their, and by the way, the phone numbers are anonymized. They're looking at just general phone calls. It's not like they were tapping phones or any of that, but these legislators, some of them are actually taking legal action, as you know. We've detailed it on the show, and they're suing the American government for the investigation that involved their phone number. And surveillance is what they call it, surveillance of their telephone calls around that time. They're seeking hundreds of thousands of dollars. So this is insanity on insanity, but the Jack Smith closed-door hearings are revealing what is the legitimacy of the investigation, not the partisan absurdity of the investigation. Now, it'll get spun in a partisan way, but that's the truth of what's happening. Thank you, Kim, for that report. I like a little report, and then I blither on. That is my stock and trade.
That's all right.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to take a quick break for Kim's news. You'll get to hear more of Kim, a little less of me. But whatever Kim leaves on the table, I will follow up aggressively with. I also have something that normally would be a day, Wednesdays, or when we do a segment called It's the Planet Stupid, and we have Belinda Weymouth in. In lieu of her, because she's not here because of the holidays, I will offer an interesting fact about electric vehicles and about combustion engines. And you know, this administration in America has gone aggressively against the electric vehicle world, against even the basic emission standards associated with fossil fuel burning engines, you know, combustion engines. I'll give you a little word on that and some news about the EV world as well. So that's all coming up. But more than anything, if you are looking for a compendium, which is a ding word, if you're looking for a collection, if you're looking for a presentation that brings together the complexities of the world and the complexity of American politics, the personalities, the facts, you are going to get it in a way you cannot get it anywhere else. You'll get it from Kim McAllister next.
What?
Oh, wow.
It's true. Yeah.
Kim, how are you?
So with that said, smash that like button. Mark Thompson Show.
The Mark Thompson Show.
On the Mark Thompson Show, I'm Kim McAllister. This report is sponsored by the amazing CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. As mentioned here on the amazing Mark Thompson Show, President Trump will be in prime time tonight with an address to the nation. In a Truth Social post, the president said he will be speaking from the White House at 9 p.m. Eastern. He didn't provide any details about what he'll be talking about. Trump ended his post saying it has been a great year for our country and the best is yet to come. Who knows?
Yeah,
Maybe he'll provide a preview of all the attacks to be made in 2026.
Someone did this to spoil our Christmas.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
You've heard about the boats in Venezuela. Wait till I tell you about Colombia.
Maybe he'll tell you about the healthcare plan.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan?
I have concepts of a plan.
Okay.
Maybe he'd like to tell us that it's coming in 2 weeks. I mean, who knows?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I just came on to tell you that there'll be a big plan for everything I'm doing in 2
Big
weeks.
announcement. Big. President Trump taking part.
I hope he shows us the ballroom progress tonight. I mean, really, I'm excited about the ballroom progress. Yeah.
I have a story about that. Let's skip to it. President Trump is indicating that
was very inappropriate.
Well,
his planned ballroom project at the White House could double in cost from its original estimate.
Oh my God.
President sharing the development while speaking during a Hanukkah reception on Tuesday, noting the project could reach $400 million.
Oh,
That's pure speculation.
That's unbelievable.
What? Trump suggesting he will do it for less and reiterated that the project is being financed by donors. Trump also highlighting that a federal judge ruled construction on the ballroom can proceed after rejecting a request from a preservation group to temporarily put a stop on that project.
I mean, it's just
a pricey ballroom.
It's just incredible. The ballroom is, as you know, a way to money Trump land. We don't know and can't keep track of a lot of these donations. We know Palantir, Meta, very high-profile members of Trump's constellation of people around him, all contributing. There's a lot of high-tech people. You saw Jamie Dimon the other day. Jamie Dimon saying we can't contribute to the ballroom because of the perception that we are buying influence, and this administration isn't the only administration we have to deal with. It was sort of a tacit acknowledgement of the fact that we in the Wall Street community understand that there is going to be another king at some point. And if you get in too deep with this king, you could pay a huge price. And in a way, Dimon was basically saying we owe it to investors not to be in too deep, because we could actually end up paying a huge price for that when there is a regime change in Washington, if there's a regime change.
I wonder if that means that all of the donors that have contributed to the ballroom, if they either have business before the government or they're so short-sighted that they're just looking for a payday today.
Well, I mean, I think they've seen that there are no repercussions, frankly, to anything that they have done that has been illegal. I mean, even look at the construction of the ballroom. That's completely illegal what he's doing. You can't just take a wrecking ball to the east wing of the White House without the approval of various committees. There's an architectural committee. They're heads of these. But I would have said you can't just concoct a group of people, call them Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency, let them move into all of these different agencies, and there it is, the East Wing and the destruction of it, and dismantle these agencies, fire tens of thousands of government employees. You can't do that illegally. But they did it. There were no repercussions, virtually none. And so I think if you're Meta, Palantir with huge government contracts. I mean, Palantir is a company with massive surveillance. They're an international company with a lot at stake in the world of the U.S. I would include Elon Musk in this and his SpaceX. I mean, why is he all of a sudden sidling back up to Trump in this administration? Because there's so much money at stake and there are no repercussions for any of the illegalities. So if you look at it that way, then, hey, why not jump on board? I mean, who designed the ballroom? The ghost of Liberace, says Luis. I know, it really is. Totally. That's such a great line. I mean, it's very Saudi prince. Everything at the White House is now Saudi prince. And I'll just state this as an aside, but then I want to get back to Jamie Dimon and just give you 30 more seconds on that and I'll stop. But, one of the reasons that the White House isn't a palace is because it was thought to represent the people's house, and they didn't want it to be palatial. They could have put gold everywhere and made it look like Buckingham Palace, but they didn't want that. Deliberately, they turned down the volume on the palace part of the White House. But Trump wants the palatial aspects to stand out. And so he is just festooned the whole place in gold, and he has changed the entire vibe of the White House. And now back to Jamie Dimon and the reconstruction.
But before you do that, can I just ding you for festooned?
Yes, festooned. Thank you.
Yeah.
Jamie Dimon not only said that there'll be a new king after Donald Trump, but he said it's possible that there'll be questions about legality of some of this pay-to-play type situation, and for that reason, we have to stand back. And I owe it to investors in my company not to be part of this. So I thought it was the first time I'd heard a leading business individual in the world of business say, there it is, Jamie Dimon warns companies linked to Trump's ballroom project could face criminal exposure. I mean, this is a pretty big deal. And it's the first time I'd heard something like that coming from a character as high profile as a Jamie Dimon. So,
on a more solemn note, President Trump is taking part in the transfer of 2 Iowa National Guard soldiers killed in Syria. Trump meeting with the families of Sergeants William Howard and Edgar Torres Tovar at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware. The 2 were killed last weekend, along with a civilian interpreter from Michigan, after a gunman attacked a security meeting. Again, that was in Syria. President Trump seems to be moving ahead with reclassifying marijuana. Where are my weed smokers at? He's set to sign an executive order switching.
Where are my weed smokers at?
Thank you. He's going to sign an executive order switching this drug from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3, easing federal restrictions. The reclassification would not completely legalize marijuana on a federal level, but it won't change state laws by scheduling marijuana as a level 3 drug, which means it has a moderate to low potential for physical and psychological dependence. The federal government says it could be better for research purposes or medicinal use.
Doesn't anybody better weed?
I'll tell you something about this, and I'll do it in 20 seconds or less. This is another example of Democrats dropping the ball on something that would have been so easy. Democrats, you promised you would reclassify marijuana. You promised you'd legalize marijuana, and you didn't do it. Trump gets credit for doing this. It's a reclassification. Maybe it's on the way to legalization, but it was a Democratic promise, and it was a promise not kept. I put that in the same category as I do minimum wage, a number of other. What I felt, the minimum wage is a little more complicated because you have to get buy-in in different ways from different states. But this was easy. This was a layup. And the Biden administration left it on the table. And I consider that a huge error.
A federal appeals court panel is allowing President Trump's National Guard deployment in Washington, D.C. to continue. The 3-judge panel unanimously agreeing to pause a lower court order that had blocked troops from being sent into the city as the administration's appeal proceeds. One of the judges on the panel wrote that because the District of Columbia is a federal district created by Congress rather than a constitutionally sovereign entity like the 50 states, the defendants appear on this early record likely to prevail on the merits of their argument that the president possesses a unique power within the district.
So at the end of all of that, the troops go home, yes?
Nope, they get to stay. They get to stay.
And the reason is because that's essentially a federal protectorate is what they're saying?
The seat of federal government. That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Nick Reiner made his first court appearance today in a suicide prevention vest. The 32-year-old formally charged in Los Angeles with 2 counts of first-degree murder for the stabbing deaths of his parents, Hollywood director Rob Reiner and Michelle Reiner. Nick Reiner is being charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. He did not enter a plea. The judge said his arraignment will be continued to January 7th.
And that's a pretty extraordinary situation that resulted from, as we're learning, this holiday party. I'm not saying that the holiday party was the reason for it, but just the sequence of events and what people saw. And there was this holiday party at Conan O'Brien's house, and the erratic nature of exchanges between Nick Reiner and guests. They foretold, if you will, some sort of growing specter of violence, perhaps, but certainly something dark. And apparently, in a group of different people at this party, among them Bill Hader, Nick Reiner stepped in and, in this sort of obnoxious as it's related way, said, hey, are you somebody? Are you a celebrity? Are you, it was this weird exchange. And Hader, he asked, are you famous? Wanting to know everybody's last name and are you famous? And he's a big guy. Nick Reiner is 6'3", about 230 pounds. And after this lifetime of drug issues, I think he went to rehab 17 different times. He still was dogged by these demons. And in this party, Hader apparently said, hey, I'm having a private conversation right now. I mean, and the reason I mention this is it's been widely reported. And Reiner sort of stood there for a moment, looking and staring at Hader and the person he was speaking with. And then he went off, meaning he left. So significant were the incidents associated with Nick Reiner at this party. There was shouting, I guess, between Nick Reiner and, it was Rob and Nick who were arguing, and Rob apparently was making the point that you are acting inappropriately. There's Bill Hader, if you're watching on YouTube, on the left, and that's Nick on the right. And the Reiners apologized to Conan O'Brien, left the party early. It's not clear whether Nick left with them. And the mood of the night was apparently significantly altered. Again, this is in published reports, The Hollywood Reporter, etc. And at 4 a.m., Nick checked into this Pierside Santa Monica. Is that a motel of some kind? Is that what that is?
I would imagine, yeah.
And the staff later there discovered a shower that was full of blood, bed sheets hanging over the window. And then, of course, Rob and Michelle Reiner were discovered slain from the knife wounds. That was around 3:30 in the afternoon on Sunday, and discovered by their daughter, Romy. He was taken into custody, 32-year-old Nick Reiner, at a subway station in Exposition Park near USC, about 15 miles from his folks' home. The conversation, an incident at Conan O'Brien's house, is something that will, I think, forever be part of this story and be a significant part of it. And this imposing guy with a behavioral profile that was erratic, to be polite, and completely sort of out of bounds, it sadly informs this entire thing. So you have a party that's full of A-listers like Jane Fonda, and Hader is there, and there's Conan O'Brien with Rob Reiner, and Rob Reiner himself, an A-lister. And his son just going through kind of like a bull in a china shop, disturbing things to the point that Reiner had to confront him. Rob Reiner had to confront him. So this is a deeply troubled guy, addicted, but also, it would seem, fighting a kind of mental illness that was showing itself and manifesting in more and more disturbing ways. But again, the timeline, the narrative, the scenarios all seem clearer now. And the loss and the pain is enduring and so very tragic. Yeah.
Did you hear or did you read the story that the Obamas had planned to visit the Reiners the day they died?
Yeah, that's wild. I did see that. Yeah.
I saw that too, and I was talking to my husband about it, and I said, "Oh my goodness, thank God, thank goodness they didn't." And he said, "No, if they had, the Obamas come with Secret Service, and the son may have been disarmed before he harmed anyone."
Oh, wow.
So, yeah,
That's really interesting.
yeah. If the Secret Service had been there, maybe there would have been some protection against that. I don't know.
I mean, against that, but what happened with the Rob and Michelle Reiner, who you see there on the right, and the Obamas are there on the left, thank you, Tony, is that they were, it suggested, likely killed in their sleep. I mean, it was the middle of the night, and it's a pretty brutal, it's a pretty brutal detail as to how the blade cut them both up, and then they were stabbed. There's so much emotion and horror associated with this. I have to tell you that I still can't believe it. It still seems absolutely incredible to me. It's just so extraordinary. It's so outrageous. Man. What you saw in Rob Reiner, and I've done a lot of reading on this since it happened. I mean, there are all these different aspects to it. There's the addiction aspect. There's mental illness. There's the, is it tough love that you need to handle with this? And the fact that when he was coming at a certain time, the tough love was the right way. Now they look back on it and they go, maybe the tough love wasn't the right way. And that Reiner was trying to do the thing that all the experts suggested he would be most effective in employing in trying to handle his son's mental illness and addiction. And that was tough love. And yet he himself was always questioning that, because that tough love tends to rupture relationships, The idea somehow that you let the kid fall, and that at some point you begin to have an opportunity to reconstruct his life. But if you keep rescuing him and not let him fall, this is the strategy that now, what I was reading, again, I've read all these different things, was sort of the employed, accepted strategy at the time that Nick Reiner was coming up. As a teenager, he was already an addict at 15. So Rob Reiner himself spoke to how tortured he was about how to handle it. What was the best way to proceed? Who were the experts that they felt they'd have the most faith in? And there were a lot of cross currents. It's just a terror. And by the way, it may not have even mattered at the end of it all, but a terribly tortured, sad, tragic situation, and just profoundly awful. So.
Police in Rhode Island are releasing images of a second person of interest in the manhunt for the Brown University shooter. That person was in the proximity to the main person of interest that has so far eluded authorities for 5 days now. 2 students were killed and 9 others wounded when a gunman opened fire inside a classroom at that Ivy League school on Saturday. You may remember,
not to be a jerk about it, but you saw that Kash Patel was kind of beginning to, peacock like what he always does. He takes the private FBI jet from his girlfriend's gig and then flies to whatever high-profile FBI investigation there is and goes, stand aside, give me my blue FBI jacket, let me talk to everybody and tell you, we've got this situation under control, FBI's here. And then apparently, as he was beginning to do that, it was like, we don't have a person of interest. The person of interest we got to let go. That person of interest turns out is the wrong guy. And so he kind of, went back into the shadows. So it's extraordinary to me that this guy still is on the loose. And as and I think you mentioned Brown University's closed down. Finals are done. That is to say, they're not going to do finals now. They're not going to do any year-end classes. It's everything is closed down at Brown University.
You may remember the new West Wing Walk Hall of Presidential Pictures. Trump calling it his Presidential Walk of Fame. There it is. Thanks, Tony. Now he has added plaques to the display. You can see the plaques underneath each picture there. And they're kind of Trump-esque plaques. He's got his commentary.
Full of capital letters and misspellings.
Yeah. Exclamation points. He's got his comments on presidents past. President Biden's plaque reads, false claims that the 46th president took office as a result of the most corrupt election ever when in fact he defeated Trump in 2020, both in the popular vote and the Electoral College. Biden is also described as by far the worst president in American history. Barack Obama, also a Democrat, called one of the most divisive political figures in American history on his plaque. Ronald Reagan is called a fan of young Trump.
By the way, he does have capital letters in, this is just wild. It's like he just took his Truth Social posts and turned them into plaques. That's really funny.
Yeah, they're plaques underneath. I have the story already, but shout out to Michael Snyder, who had just texted it to me as well.
That's just wild.
A court hearing on the legality of California's newly drawn congressional district maps continues in Los Angeles today. Republicans still hoping a federal district court panel will block the maps which favor Democrats from taking effect next year. Of course, Republicans sued Governor Gavin Newsom and the Secretary of State, Shirley Weber, the day after Prop 50 passed. They argue race was illegally used as a factor in redrawing district lines, giving Latino and Hispanic voters more influence than other racial and ethnic groups. Tesla sales in California are poised to be suspended if they don't change their marketing practices on their driver assistance technology. The California DMV is suing Tesla, accusing the electric car maker of misleading consumers about full self-driving. The state is asking a judge to temporarily suspend Tesla's ability to sell or manufacture vehicles in California for 30 days. That would be interesting if that happens.
Yeah, it would be interesting, man.
Dozens of protesters have been arrested after chaining themselves to the ICE headquarters building in San Francisco. Interfaith Movement for Human Integrity, which organized this protest, says 42 people were arrested by federal agents on Tuesday, many of them faith leaders from around the Bay Area. Demonstrators also blocked 3 entrances to the building. Others swayed and sang songs and played music and general demonstration, right? The demonstrators arrested after ignoring orders to disperse. There is a new study identifying several direct health effects seen in Los Angeles County residents in the aftermath of the January wildfires. Cedars-Sinai Smith Heart Institute found ER visits for respiratory illness increased by 24% in the weeks after the Palisades and Eaton fires started. 90 days after the fire, heart attacks increased by 46%. Researchers also tracked a 118% spike in abnormal blood work, with all of those patients needing emergency care. One researcher says it's the most unusual finding, adding the fires appear to have caused a biochemical metabolic stress on the body that likely affected more than just one organ system. The data even shows that people did not have to live in close proximity to the fires to suffer those health impacts.
Wow.
Gil Gerard of the star of Buck Rogers on the 25th Century. I loved that show. You remember that show?
Sure, of course.
He passed away. He had been fighting an aggressive cancer. He dies at the age of 82 and knew it was coming, and so left behind a final message for fans. He said, "My life has been an amazing journey. The opportunities I've had, the people I've met, the love I've given and received have made my 82 years on the planet deeply satisfying." He goes on to say, "Don't waste your time on anything that doesn't thrill you or bring you love. See you out there somewhere in the cosmos."
Gil Gerard. How many times was he married, everybody?
Don't know.
Gil Gerard. How many times was Gil Gerard married? I ask my devoted marriage counters. I'm not asking you to look it up. I'm asking you to guess.
Remember that little robot?
Big Hollywood star, very handsome.
Twiggy? Wiggy.
What are you saying, Kim? Sorry.
I was talking about that little robot from Buck Rogers in the 25th Century. Yeah.
He was married.
4? I'm going to say 4.
4 would be I'd say 3 would be solid. 4 is a little extreme, but I do accept it. I understand it. 4, seeing a lot of 4. 1 says Ole Hansen. 5 says gone fishing 6 times. Hollywood, that's like a Larry King. Larry King was married, 8 times? Yeah. But
what can you tell us about the scene?
We're talking about Gil Gerard right now, Larry. How many times was he married? The answer is 2 times. Yeah, 2 times. Yeah. All right. was married to Connie Selica, everyone. You know who Connie Selica was?
I remember her.
And also to Bobby Leonard, who is a friend of mine, believe it or not. I know it's a very
What?
I know. I'm just saying she's a so there's Connie Selica in a super small picture that Tony has. That's not a life-size picture. That's a super small picture. But yeah, there are all the pictures of Connie Selica. And
so is he still married to Bonnie?
Well, he's no. Both those marriages ended. He was
because he has a current wife that he's been married to for 19 years. So that would be 3.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second. Gilderard wife, Bobby Leonard, Connie Selica, and who is the current wife?
I don't know her name, but
wait a minute. I need to have a name in order to actually award the. Hang on a second. Let me just see. Spouse Connie Selica, spouse Bobby Leonard. I don't see any other spouses listed. Do you?
Janet Gerard is her name, and she's been married to him for 18 years.
Wow, Kim with some solid, and that does change 3 times. Champagne wishes you will get points for the day, and all of you who guessed 3, congratulations, man.
I mean, I don't know how to take this, but AI says he had 2 others.
Oh, wait a minute.
But I don't know. Again, this is AI, so who knows?
Hey, the wives coming out of the woodwork.
Actor Gil Gerard has been married multiple times, notably to actress Connie Selica and Bobby Leonard, both ending in divorce, and had other wives in the 60s and 70s, as Tony says. Earlier marriages, he had 2 other wives in the 1960s and 1970s for his more famous marriage. Oh, this means that if this is true...
5.
No, well... 2 others plus, you're right, it would be 5. Oh my God, this is a... my God. You just can't trust anything anymore. But look, there he is as Buck Rogers with the, the laser, whatever that is.
I love that show.
I know, it's so good.
When you've got that laser thing, you've had 5 wives. You've got to, you got that. Look at him. He's such a...
He's a hunk.
He's hunky, exactly.
He was 82.
I mean, come on, Aaron Gray on that show.
I know.
Wow.
And the robot. Love the robot. All right.
I'm really, thank you for all the research on this, guys. I appreciate it very much.
In case you were looking for something to
You're
watch.
right, though. By the way, just 5 wives. Janet was his wife of 18 years. So thank you.
So it looks like finally he found one that stuck.
5 was much different than 2.
Took a little while to get that one right.
We really scaled that up. Okay, go ahead.
In case you're looking for something to watch, we've got the first trailer for a documentary on First Lady Melania Trump that has been released. The film follows Melania in the 20 days leading up to President Trump's second inauguration. Melania is directed by Brett Ratner, who's helmed movies like Rush Hour and X-Men 3. That's why Trump was calling for a new Rush Hour sequel he wants. Remember that?
That's right.
MGM Studios paid $40 million for the rights to this documentary, and Melania hits theaters on January 30th.
Wow. Melania. Can't wait to see it.
We're kind of out of time, but I'll just throw this out there as a little palate cleanser at the end. Zillow is naming Santa Claus, Indiana, as the most festive town in the United States. They analyzed home listings featuring holiday-related words to rank 10 most festive towns in the U.S. It spans communities from California to Pennsylvania, but Santa Claus, Indiana took the top spot with more than half of its listings on Zillow referencing the holiday spirit, and the town is even equipped with Santa's post office, which is so interesting. We just posted a picture of that from Sarah Kendzior's website earlier in the show. Each December, the town hosts 3 weekends of celebrations featuring lights, ice skating, and chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
Oh, that's very, very sweet. By the way, the title of the Melania movie, Luis is saying, is... buy book, watch movie mine, which is that says
watch my movie.
It's really got a nice ring to it. Yeah.
This
what about Christmas, Florida? PNE is asking.
Sorry, no, it's all about Indiana.
Sorry.
It might be in the top 10. I only gave you the number 1.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you have the top 10 there, Tony?
No, Tony might.
Since,
it's not. We can follow up on this.
Yeah.
I think
I don't know.
North Carolina had it,
Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. There's a
number
Pennsylvania
3.
in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. This report sponsored by CoachellaValleyCoffee.com.
Mm-hmm.
Check out the holiday blend, the holiday gift sets. They're all on the website.
Yes.
CoachellaValleyCoffee.com is where you go. I'm telling you, a little package of vanilla iced tea in the stocking, mango iced tea, Moroccan mint, a holiday blend coffee in the stocking. It's all so good. Please check it out at CoachellaValleyCoffee.com.
Yeah.
And please
happy Chinooka to everybody. Chinooka's well underway. And
please use the code. It's Mark T, no spaces, Mark T at checkout. That'll get you your 10% off exclusively from Mark Thompson because he cares. CoachellaValleyCoffee.com.
We all care.
That's right.
Love
Mark
it.
Thompson Show cares.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Kim McAllister. This is the Mark Thompson Show.
Feel it in your soul. The Mark Thompson Show.
They are kissing my ass.
All right. Well, congratulations to everyone who played in the Gil Gerard marriage game. Again, it's 5 is the number of times that Mr. Gerard was married, and we will miss him. Great holiday is sadly punctuated by loss. Honestly, if I had a sweater named after me, I'd never take it off either, says Wes is warm. This is the, I'm wearing the cardigan. Again, it's got a flaw because it's too low. You can't see it. You can't see but it's a very beautiful sweater. We should petition, and everybody should know by now, says Jim Slayton, that Mark Thompson should host the Oscars. Yeah,
I think you'd be great.
I think Jimmy Kimmel was my favorite host. I just love Jimmy. Great show. Don't worry about the tech issues, says Luis. I'll take real and live over perfect and canned. Perfection is not greatness. Keep doing it live. Mahalo. Wow. Thank you, Luis. And a big shout out.
Big shout out.
You're very funny today, too, Luis. Mark looks like he's off to Glee Club practice after the show with that cardigan. Thank you, Randy. I think you're
big shout out.
You're right about that. Yeah. We found out today, if you missed it, the cardigan had been on the website, and apparently it is no longer on the website. And Kim, I think we established that Courtney is looking into that. But if you want to find other merch that you might enjoy, you can find it at getmarkmerch.com. We have the mugs, we have the sweaters, we have the long sleeve tees, Peacefully Resist, Born to Peacefully Resist, the Project 1984.5 shirts and mugs. We also have the whole collection. I thought I said I was going to wear the barbecue bib.
Yeah, you didn't shoot the barbecue apron. You didn't change it.
I asked you to remind me, Tony.
Thanks, Tony.
And you didn't do it. You didn't do it. Maybe it was the fact that we're trying to talk Rothmann on. That would might have. But there it is. That is the what's it called? It's a
apron.
It's apron. Okay, that's the. I will wear it tomorrow. I really will wear it tomorrow. So that's my.
You can pretend you're a barista. Whip us up some Coachella Valley coffee.
I can pretend I'm a lot of things. I love playing pretend. Let's do it. That's all at getmarkmerch.com. I don't know if we can get you anything in time for Chinooka, but we can definitely maybe Christmas. Don't know. Anyway, I'm very excited about tomorrow's show, because David Katz will join us, the noted federal prosecutor and brilliant legal analyst who's now a defense attorney in Southern California. We'll talk about the coming SCOTUS rulings. There is a lot in the legal pipeline. I'll even talk about the legality of the Donald Trump moves off the coast of Venezuela and how Pete Hegseth may literally be exposed to murder charges once this entire regime gives in.
I'm Shadow Stevens for the Mark Thompson Show. Bye-bye.
A lot to do tomorrow with Katz.
Out of time. Bye-bye.
For now, don't forget the Sarah Kendzior sale. Check that out. There's a link under this video. And until tomorrow, bye-bye.
Bye.